I am very specific with the food that I eat, and this week has been off, and I think I am feeling the effects. No, I know I'm feeling the effects. So, last weekend, of course, was Easter, so that means naturally there's a lot more chocolate in your diet. I got, how many eggs did I get? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe I got 6, oh, maybe 6, 7, 6 eggs or so. And I've not had all of them, but I think by Tuesday I realised I was on 1 egg a day. And I realised that chocolate really affects me quickly. There was a time when I only ate chocolate on a Wednesday and a Sunday. And the reason for that was, well, when the American football season was on, it meant that on a Sunday I could really relax and chill out and just enjoy some treats. But the problem was I was making up for the chocolate that I hadn't eaten on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday by having even more than I normally would on Wednesdays and Sundays. So the Wednesdays was just like a halfway thing to get you through the week. I like rules, but I stopped that because I realised that I was having too much. So now I've realised that I need to find a way to ration my Easter eggs. Because it's just my routine for food is that every morning I have oatmeal, which is porridge, but I realise how much better oatmeal sounds than saying you have porridge, because one of them makes it sound like I'm living in the 1800s. When the option is there to call it oatmeal, do either really sound that good? Oatmeal is very, because I think in the UK we call it porridge, and in America they call it oatmeal. And what happened was, when I was in Canada, so this is also in Canada, in North America, they call it oatmeal. And when I was flying from city to city every day for my tour, I kept going to Starbucks and saying, can I have put one of the, they got like tubs of it, porridge. It's not gluten-free, but you take what you can. I'd say porridge, and they'd say, huh? I'd say the oatmeal. And then I realised, just say oatmeal, just say oatmeal. However, I think because the word porridge just has the porridge, it sounds it does sound very Goldilocks. I wonder if over there it's Goldilocks and the Three Bears says oatmeal instead of porridge. I don't want to Google this early into the episode, but no, I don't. I can't be bothered to Google that. I don't know what it would mean. Just let me know in the comments. I'm a bit run down. That's why I can't even be bothered to Google. Sorry. Gone in for an early sip. 3 minutes in. I basically sorry. So where was I? So I have. Yeah, sorry. Oatmeal is like it's the equivalent of us calling it autumn and North America calling it fall. Because it's like, what happens? The leaves fall. What is that? It's a meal of oats. Oatmeal. I'll have an oatmeal. Because actually, yeah, when you break it down, it doesn't sound great, does it? But anyway, I have that every morning with raspberries, blueberries, honey, peanut butter, and flax seeds. And I mix the oats with a bit of milk and water. Every day I have that. For lunch, I have an omelette with red pepper and spinach. Found out this week that there's not as much iron in spinach as we thought. It's not much different to every other green leafed vegetable, because it turns out. Sorry, I just burped. Sorry about that. Blimey, I'm sorry. I'm sort of not feeling myself. There was a misprint on the packaging of how much iron was in it. And then when they decided that Popeye was going to eat spinach to get his muscles big, that sort of didn't really, it helped with their sales, but it didn't help people realise that actually there's not that much in it. So I've been having it every day because I've got an iron deficiency, which I think comes as a surprise to no one. I take iron tablets every day as well. Gentle iron. If you're taking them, take gentle iron. And then I take B12 because I think my body can't absorb iron as well. So B12 helps you absorb it. Then I take this stuff called Lion Mane Focus, which might be nothing, but apparently it helps you focus. Haven't taken one today, actually. Maybe I should start taking it before the podcast. Maybe that's what's been going wrong. So I have red pepper and spinach in my omelette. Have my vitamins, and I'll have some grapes and have an apple. Lots of liquids. Then dinner's what changes. And have vegetables in there. So this week, well, Sunday I was over my family's, so there was a roast dinner. But I'm vegetarian, so I just have the trimmings. So that meant my day was a bit skewed anyway. So I think I had an omelette for dinner. Then, because of having the chocolate, it's very filling, but it's very Moorish. An Easter egg and a cup of tea is so good, but it does have an effect, especially because I have the routine. If the routine gets knocked a little bit, then I think it affects me even more. So this week I've been out with friends on, what day was that? Wednesday and Thursday, and it's knocked me off kilter, and it's really affected me. So I've really got to think, with New Zealand coming up, what my routine will be, and I've got to get it sorted because I feel skew-whiff would be the word, skew-whiff. So then what happened was, and so the result of this was basically, I went out on Wednesday with friends and I had my oatmeal porridge in the morning, and then I'm just gonna say porridge from now on. Then we went out for drinks. So this was me, Leon, Jam, and Dustin. So we are 4 friends. There's actually 5 in the group. And now, really, you can say group in this day and age and sort of clarify it clearer. Because before, if you said that's my friendship group, your like circle, you're sort of saying this is, because I don't know if you're the same. There's like a core group, and then there's other friends that almost sort of like orbit around it, and they sort of come in that one of you or 2 of you might know, but they've never quite broken in. However, now because of WhatsApp, it's actually a group. You can say that is that group. That group is them. So that's 5 of us, but one of us lives in Dubai, Dan, so he wasn't there. Just so happened, Leon's a teacher, so it's half term. Jan was off work. I was off work, and Dustin started doing comedy, so Dustin had a gig that night. So because we were meeting during the day, all 4 of us were free, and it turned out to be the hottest day of the year. I think it was 24 degrees Celsius. Don't know what that is Fahrenheit, but nice and hot. So we all met at, what time did we meet? I think 2 o'clock. Went to a pub near Waterloo. Now, here's a little debate for you. Leon, he was drinking Guinness. He loves Guinness, and he was having 1 alcoholic Guinness, then 1 non-alcoholic Guinness, and he was alternating. So Dustin and I said, oh, that's a good idea. We should do the same thing. But I said to Dustin, as we went into the pub to get our drinks, because Jam and Leon got there first, I said to Dustin, actually, because we're all excited to see each other, you should start with a non-alcoholic drink, because we've got the adrenaline of us all hanging out anyway. So why don't we just have a non-alcoholic one? We're excited to chat. And then after, when we start to not lag, I guess lag a bit, you go, okay, now I'll have a bit of an alcohol boost. And then you have the alcohol. And then, so you start with the off and then go to the on. And Dustin agreed, good idea. So we did that. However, I didn't go on to alcohol until the last drink 7 hours later. I had alcohol free, because I spoke about this before. I can't day drink. It really affects me. So I was sensible, and I think I said this to Leon when we were out. I said, I was talking on the podcast about being an introvert, being an extrovert. And I realised that that group of friends is really one that brings out the extrovert in me, that I just get energized from being around them. So I just didn't need the alcohol. Don't know what it says about my company that they were all drinking, but I think I'm fine. I just don't need it when I'm around them. It's a good, clear dynamic. Everyone gets along. It's really just nice, easy. We've been a friendship group for, sounds so weird to say that as adults, but 13 years. Yeah, 13 years. And now two of us are married. Said us, thought that was me. It's not me. But two of us are married, and soon two of us will have children. Again, not me. Yeah. Wow. Funny that, like, we spend New Year's together often when we can, and every once a year. Sort of when we can, it's sort of quite defined, isn't it? 31st of December. Was Jam here last time? Oh, sounds bad if he wasn't. I can't remember. Maybe he wasn't. No, he wasn't. No, he couldn't make it. And Dan was in Dubai. But what happened was, New Year's happened. And then when we watched the fireworks, then on TV afterwards, it was Ronan Keating from Boyzone. And it was like a little nostalgia thing. And we were saying, God, how good is he? And what great songs. And because Leon and Joe are having a baby, I suddenly thought, oh, wow, in like 6 years, we will be the embarrassing parents at New Year's, sort of singing along to Boyzone while they're going, Mom, Dad, I'm bored, I want to go home. And we're like, oh, we're having some fun. I don't know why our voice has changed like that, but I just had an image suddenly of me being younger, my parents being around their friends, and it turns out, they weren't that old, my parents. You just think because they're your parents, they're old. But suddenly just realised that they might be like, I don't know, maybe asleep on the sofa in the back room while we were in the living room dancing and drinking. Yeah, a little snippet of that. Flash forward, but we've got some time. So, we went out for some drinks, just easy. When I go and meet some people, I do have to come up in my head with things I can talk about, and I put them in alphabetical order. Like, for example, I had some big news this week from America. So I would go in with A, America. And then I would think of B, and it would be badminton. I'm playing badminton on Monday, so I might talk about badminton for B. C, something about my car. I'd find things to talk about, and I'd categorize them into that order. So I don't have to do it with them. I don't think about it. I just turn up and conversation happens. And it's so nice that I don't even do that for this podcast, to be honest. So, you're welcome. But I mean, that's probably quite clear. Imagine if you went back and listened and it turned out every episode was in alphabetical order. But we had a few drinks at the first pub. Then we went to Pizza Pilgrims that was around the corner that I'd been to only about 2 weeks earlier with my friend Laura. So I said, there's a Pizza Pilgrims around there. It does gluten-free. Great for me. Let's go have some pizza. We went and did that. I think I just had water then. And then there was a pub along the way. I think it's called Vaulty Towers. Quite an odd place. I don't quite know what the vibe is. Obviously, that's a pun on Fawlty Towers, and it's by the Waterloo Vaults. But I don't know why it's called that. It's just sort of an odd place in there. Like, there was one table is sort of up in like a tree house, but you go up some stairs and you're sat up in a tree house one table's like underneath that, like within the, like a tree, like within the bush. Oh, I don't really know what an odd place. Yeah. Anyway, we sat outside. We were going to stand outside. Then there was a Scottish couple who were there on holiday, and they said we could join them, and we joined them, and they were lovely. They were from Fife, and they basically, it seemed that they were coming down. They were doing some tourist stuff until midday, then just getting really drunk. So they, I can't remember what they'd done that day, but they'd been to like Trafalgar Square, Leicester Square, and then they were just getting hammered. I think that was sort of their plan. But they were lovely. The guy was really, really fun. He loved his comedy. But that's the extrovert-introvert argument again, because when we sat there, we were by a Boots, and it was quite hot, and we were in the direct sun. So I went and bought some sun cream. Got the spray so everyone could borrow it. I didn't want everyone sort of... there was a roll-on one that would have fit better in my pocket, but I would have had to give it to other people. Then I just thought everyone rolling it over their skin would have sort of... No. And then the lotion would mean maybe people had to rub it in other... I got the spray. And then... the Scottish couple didn't use it. I offered it to them. And he looked like he just sort of... he had that sort of... turns out he was 62. Didn't look it. I think we all guessed around 50, but maybe we were being polite. But no, I don't think he looked 62. We were all quite surprised when he was 62. But his skin, he was quite dark-skinned, but really from the sun, that sort of... yeah, like a worn belt, I guess. Hope he's not listening. I mean, it's fine, but, you know, he'd admit that probably. It's just his skin's very, like, I think they say leathery, don't they, from being in the sun. But he didn't care for the suntan lotion. But they were lovely, and he was chipping in with jokes. But the introvert-extrovert bit, basically, I guess there'd been some conversation. Leon and Dustin were sat directly next to them, and I was the other side of Leon, and Jan was the other side of Dustin, and I was very happy for that. I wanted to be sort of towards the end. Because that's when I will become a bit more introverted. Whether now I'm a comedian and I think, am I underwhelming them? Because, I mean, I was telling jokes, but I don't know. Leon's very good at that. Leon would sit and he'd chat, and it was effortless talking to them. Perfect person to be doing that, while I'm just the other side, and I'll dip in every now and again. But I think me and Jam that was probably the right choice for me and Jam to be on the end, because we are probably quite similar in that we can be extroverted really when we want to be, but if there's other people around, we'll happily just sort of quieten down for a bit. So we chatted to them for a while. Then Dustin had to go and do his gig. So Dustin started doing comedy. He'd been doing it for a while. I think he must have done a gig probably like 10 years ago. Then he stopped. I think at one point he was doing one gig a year, which really isn't going to get you any momentum whatsoever. Yeah, now he's really going for it. In fact, I think he's going on holiday next month, and he's trying to do 20 gigs before then. So he's really packing them in. So he's just doing them around London. We haven't been to see him yet, but I'm looking forward to that. So that's exciting, and it's good to talk to him because he'll tell me about open mic nights, and it was all, maybe there was ones I used to do, and he'd tell me about the competitions or what people are like, and it's like a little what is it, time capsule for me to hear about it all. And yeah, he's having a great time. I think something's kicked in with Dustin. I think he turned 30, and something kicked in that made him want to really focus more on his career and stuff. I think he realised time comes for all of us. Sorry, that got deeper than I meant it to. But yeah, look forward to going and seeing him. So it was lovely. And then, so what happened was, we were sat out in the sun, and then when Dustin had to go and do his gig, we were then wandering around. But what happened then is it had got to around 5-ish, and this meant normal people were leaving their jobs, and they had been stuck in offices all day and they wanted to be outside in the sun. We'd had enough. I had. That's for sure. So I said, why don't we go inside somewhere? We don't need that now. And inside's going to be quiet. We ended up going into Waterloo. And there's a place at the I guess near end. It's near platform 1. At the back, up one level, is a bar. You can go into that bar and it has an outside bit, but within the bar is another door that leads to a stairwell. And we went up to the top and it was just us. We sat there and we just overlooked everybody. And I was sat next to Leon. We just leant over and watched everyone go about their day. No one knew we were watching them. And we were saying, I wonder, like, who of them is, like, having a great day? Who's having a terrible day? Who's doing this commute for the first time, but is going to be doing it for the rest of their lives? Who's doing it for the last time? They've just retired. Who's going to go home and have amazing news? Who's going to have bad news? Who, like, like, what if anyone's pregnant and they don't know it yet? Like, everything that people are going through. We just swarms of people. Quite amazing, really. Just to sit out there and watch them all. Because we'd had our time in the sun as well, so they were probably rushing back to enjoy the sun. Some of them probably going back to a marriage they didn't want to be in anymore. Weren't really in a rush and wondering, is tonight the night that I tell him? Maybe something like that. But yeah. People having affairs, probably. Yeah. Criminals. And law-abiding citizens. We just sat and watched them all and just had our drinks. And then it was only right towards the end. We sat there for a few hours, actually. I had a Bailey's. I was feeling a bit peckish. And they did some pastries there. So I bought a few pastries and a Bailey's. And then, I don't know if it's because they were drinking and I hadn't been, that suddenly people's behaviour starts to get confusing for me. And then I realise, oh, it's because of alcohol. We went into M&S to get some water before we got the train back. And we could all get the train, the same train. We could just get off at different stops. And then as we went out of M&S, I lost the two of them. Then I was really worried that Jam was the one who needed to get the train because he was going further away. So his was quite direct and only every half an hour. And then couldn't see them anywhere. Called Jam, managed to locate him. Didn't see Leon again. He got on another train. We got on another train. That was it. We were done. But it was confusing for me. Then I realised, maybe he had been drinking for 7 hours. Blimey. But then it was alternating off and on. But he can do that. Him and Jam can do that very well. Dustin could as well. Dustin was drinking. And he had a gig that night. I once went on after drinking, only because it was up in Edinburgh. I'd been having some drinks. And then someone said, can you fill in? We're an act down tonight and we just need someone to do 10 minutes. So I did it, told a story. And I had 2 stories at that time, were both quite similar and both around 5 minutes long. Anyway, I got to the end of one of the stories and I told the punchline from the other story. And it made no sense to anybody. So I cannot drink before I go on. Not at all. I guess some people might do it for nerves. Some people might do it. They might go, yeah, I'll drink to get over the nerves. But I guess I'm blessed with not having the nerves, that I just need a cup of tea and a water. In fact, yesterday. So I need to start gigging less. I don't need to be doing it at the minute. I've got other things to be focusing on. But I know why. I've been doing a few gigs and it's because I'm going to New Zealand at the end of the month to do my tour show, and I haven't done my tour show since December. So I thought I should probably get on stage just so I'm a little bit warmed up. So when I was away in, what did we decide it was called? Leger. I don't think we decided it. Quite famously, they've named it years ago. I'm going to have another sip. I've actually got 2 drinks on the go here. One of them is lemon, ginger, and a touch of Manuka honey. So I'm just going to go in for that. And that is cold, probably unsurprisingly, because we're 25 minutes in. Yeah, but I think it's still good for me. I'm just feeling a bit, like when your eyes feel a bit puffy, and I've got, sorry. So what happened was, before I go into the gigs, on Thursday, so that was Wednesday. That was why my routine was affected on Wednesday, was because I couldn't have my omelette, had a pizza, and was out all day, a bit of sun. Even though it's alcohol-free beer, a lot of like different liquids going in. Usually at home, it's just tea and water. Even if the tea is like one of that one I just had then. And actually, currently, I've got a pint of water here, but it's got that fizz stuff in it. Is it PHIZZ? PHIZZ? That's like vitamins and stuff because, yeah. There's something going on with me. But so what happened was, sorry, the point I was trying to make was, on Thursday I saw my friend Jamie. Different Jamie from Jam. There's Jam, who's with the other group, and this is Jamie, who's my best friend from school. Every now and again, we'll meet up and we just go for a walk around London and have some food. As we were meeting, I got to Clapham Junction to get the train into Waterloo, which is where we meet. We meet at a certain spot every time. Something had happened, all the trains were down. So I quickly jumped on the train that was going to Victoria, and he did something with his journey that took him to Victoria as well. He was on the tube. Anyway, outside Victoria Station, where the tube steps come up, was like, it was a place selling like bottled smoothies, but it was one of those places you sort of get at train stations where it's like a stand, but it's built into the wall, and someone's working in there in like a box, but you can't go into that shop. Does that make sense? It's like, what are they called? So you walk up to it, and then someone is inside. It's almost like a vending machine operated by a human, because it was like a wall of all these smoothies bottled, and then there was like a touch screen at the front, and you could select which one you wanted. I mean, she's got to be fully aware that her job is going to be taken by a robot at any moment. Why is that not just a vending machine? It's a vending machine, but she's the claw. I didn't tell her that, obviously, but anyway, so because I can't have banana, can't have coconut, can't have pineapple, they're quite key things that are in a lot of smoothies. So I found one that was called, each one of them was like, would do a different thing of like goodness. And this one was energy and focus, which I thought is sort of the two things you really just sort of need in life. So I thought that would be the one. But on the little description, it didn't say banana. So it was like £6.50. But she said, it's 2 for 10. So I said, well, my friend Jamie's on his way. Maybe he needs energy and focus. I'll get two of them. So we turned up, gave him one. And she saw that happen. But sort of as we said hello, I just handed it to him. And then he looked at her and said, oh, thanks. And then she found that really funny for some reason. I think because I'd just done exactly what I'd said to her. She just found it quite amusing. I think also I didn't just say hello to him. I just sort of handed him that. Anyway, as we walked along, it sort of had Major dates and cacao in it. It's sort of like cocoa, but the A and the O at the end are the wrong way around, so it's something else. Looked down at the bottle as we were drinking it and realised it did say banana. And I could already feel my throat being slightly affected by it. And banana gives me mouth ulcers. And I'd had about 30% of the bottle. So I threw it away, realised what I'd done, and now, so it's Saturday, I'm recording this on Saturday because my parents are coming over tomorrow. I realised that the banana's given me it, so I've got a mouth ulcer on my lower lip, mouth ulcer on my tongue, and I think one in my throat. And that will really affect me because it means you don't eat as much. So that's, I think, why my energy has gone low. So I woke up this morning and just had to carry on sleeping. It really affected me. That's why I'm very particular about what I eat and drink. So my point was that I think I started half an hour ago. I'm feeling a bit off because my routine was affected, and that was why. But Jamie and I just walked around as we normally do. We wanted to get vegetarian sushi. Well, Jamie would eat the fish one, but I'm vegetarian, so mine would be vegetarian sushi, which is basically just sort of avocado and cucumber, but I do like it. Tofu. And we couldn't find a good one. Two of the ones we went to were just closed, but not even closed. Like, inside was derelict. So we didn't do that, and we walked around for ages, and then went to a restaurant we'd actually been to twice before when we've done this. So we sat outside because it was just nice enough. But for some reason on that street, so bizarre, we sat there, and I don't know, it's a street just off Tottenham Court Road. Somehow, do I want to say huge, large, big, a majority of people, I'd say majority, maybe, seemed to follow me on Instagram that walked past or recognise me. So people kept coming past and they would say, oh, follow you, enjoy your meal. Like, it just, for some reason, that one street, it was bizarre. And then I met a lovely American couple, a lady called Erin. I know her name because she DM'd me afterwards on Instagram. We went outside one sushi restaurant looking to go in, and she came over and asked for a photo, and they were just on holiday there. Lovely. I love that especially, I think, because I think about someone that maybe I follow or someone I like, that being on holiday and just having to see them in their natural habitat, that would be nice. She said her daughter would be very jealous. So that's lovely. What I don't like is when they ask you to do a video. I need to come up with some sort of script I deliver when someone asks for that, because boy, do I crumble. Anyway, so last night I had these 2 gigs. So this is back in January when I was in Leger. I got an email from a comedian / promoter called Paddy, who runs these gigs. He'd brought his family to my tour show before in Cambridge, and he runs some nice gigs. He said, would I like this gig? And it was in a place called Dunmo. And I said, yeah, of course. Then he said, actually, that's 2 gigs that night. One in Harlow and one in Dunmo. So I said, well, okay, they're very close. They're like half an hour away. Open one, close the other, come home. I guess, why not? The journey, I didn't know quite where it was. I thought it was out east, but it was like north and east, but not too far. Just one of those annoying ones that actually only took me about an hour or so to get home, but to get there was probably 2.5 hours. Friday, London, just sort of traffic and just an annoying journey to get through. Anyway, managed to not go past a single decent service station or somewhere to stop for food. So I ended up stopping in a Starbucks on the way, about 10 minutes from the gig. And I was quite early because you never know how the traffic's going to be. So I went in there. Just in case I didn't go past anything else, I grabbed a wrap from Starbucks, had like a falafel wrap thing. So I went there and stood there for ages waiting to be served. There was 3 guys stood behind there, and I was like, all right, I never kick up a fuss like that. I just sort of stand there and wait and assume there's a reason for it. Then one of them just looked at me and went, are you waiting to order? And I went, yeah. And he went, oh, sorry. I'm stood by the till, sort of just looking through I wasn't even on my phone. I was just looking forward. Like, I probably looked like one of those, what do they call them, an NCP in video games? NPC? A non-playable character, NPC. NCP is a car park, I think. NPC. I just stood there, just waited. And then I said, just this and a tea, please. And he went, oh, it's going to be a bit of a wait. Huh? He went, it was a drive-through one. She's going to be a bit of a wait, so we've got a few cars. But behind me, I could see where the cars would be. And I was like, okay. Then I went and sat down and just started eating the wrap. Then he called my name a while later for my tea. And something felt funny as I picked up the cup. It felt very full. So I took it to the table and it was already going out the top of the lid and over the cup, like, so that as in sort of over the top of the cup under the lid, it was pouring out. So I took the lid off and it was like right up to the top. He'd put so much milk in it, it was like a tea latte. And I was like, if you work at Starbucks, sort of making, I know it's mainly coffee, but making a hot drink, it is literally your job. And the fact you've done that so wrong was crazy. And it was like and it just was like, if you touch it was so full, if you touch the cup, it like more would pour over. So in fact, the cardboard bit that goes around the cup, that sort of bit they give you to not burn yourself, that was like soaking, like dripping wet because of all the hot water that got. So I ended up going back over there, getting napkins and cleaning it all up. And I thought, I'm so glad I did not take that into the car, because I would have had one sip and it would have gone all down me. So that was like, I was like, I need to gig less, because I've been on tour for over 2 years now. And a lot of it isn't glamorous when it comes to food, because you just do grab something from the services. And because there was just no decent one to stop at on the way, I was just in this Starbucks. My dinner was a falafel wrap and the worst tea I've ever had. And I thought, I just want to be at home. It's Friday night. I do not need to be doing this gig. Then I turned up to Harlow. They said, here's the car park that's around the corner. Got to the car park. I thought, don't really want to leave my car here. It was backing onto a park. It didn't look terrible, but it didn't look great. I noticed almost every man I saw was carrying his own, I guess it was like it looked like the sort of the most oddly shaped briefcase you'd ever seen in your life, but each of them were carrying their own snooker cue. That's why. So the snooker cue obviously screws up and comes up in half. So it was half the width of half the length of a snooker cue. Just double the width. A little briefcase like that. They all had them. Every man I saw in the town, whatever it is, will walk into this place that is obviously the local pool club, snooker club, I guess. But I did think, well, the good thing is, if it's their own snooker cues, they are less likely to smack someone over the back of the head with them, because they're probably expensive. But they all had it. And then I parked up, luckily right outside the venue, ready for a quick escape. And I went in, and it was like a working man's club. And again, I was thinking, what am I doing here? I mean, just the idea that I'm doing that gig, and then later this month, I'm flying out to New Zealand to do my own tour, was such like a vast difference of like, I guess it just from what luckily for me, I guess, what my sort of career could be going to do these gigs. Does that sound bad? I don't mean for it to sound bad. I just mean that, like, only because I've got that difference to compare it to. I think if I wasn't on a tour and I wasn't going around the world touring, I would just go, this is part of the job. You turn up and it's a different place. How exciting. And, that's the positive way to look at it. But it was just funny to go, in 2 weeks, I'm flying to New Zealand. And it's just so funny that I'm in this place, which is just like, everyone was very nice. But as I went into the bar bit, I said, is there comedy here? Hoping the answer was no. And she said, no, it's in the hall across the way. And I went to the hall. Really lovely young guys that ran it, and one old guy. They were really nice. Four friends. One of them looked like sort of a young David Mitchell. He was also called Jake, but I think they were calling him Counsellor Jake. So he was like a young man, I would say probably early 20s, but looked like he was didn't look like, sort of behaved like he was like mid 40s, like with his pint, wearing a bright red jumper, V-neck over a white shirt, trousers. Like, some men, I had a friend like that at school, Simon Farron, just always sort of behaved like a 45-year-old man. And he was a bit like that, and he was there with his friends, and he just sort of, they were dressed in like hoodies and he was dressed like that. So it stood out a bit, but they were really nice. And then it was like in a hall. So the chairs and tables were all sort of laid out, but the tables were like old school tables. Maybe you'd have like dinner at school lunches. And then there was no green room. I was like at the back of this side of stage bit. I just had nothing in common with any of the other acts because there was two acts. The only two I was on with. I was opening this gig and then going to another one and closing the other one. And they both lived in their vans. And they were talking about their vans that have got like, I think one of them had a shower in the van. One of them had a double bed in this. It's a purpose-built thing. One of them had a shower and a bed. And that they've got that and they travel around in it. It's like another world. I was like, wow. And one of them was there in his van and his dog. And was going down to do a gig in Surrey, I think, tonight. I was like, wow, just different lives. Just, yeah. I think one of them said it was a Mercedes van. I think she might have said a king-size bed. Shower. Just drive around in that and do her gigs. Different world. I was like, oh, that's... Whoa, there's a big old cat outside. It's big and black and brown and white. And it's sniffing. And I think Richard Parker's out there, so I'm wondering if it's... Actually, I don't think he is. I think I'm safe. He's sort of looking around like something's going on. I don't know if it's a friend of Richard Parker's or not. Very cool looking cat, though. Very cool. Yeah, we've got. Oh, wow! They're humans in the garden. I can see now. Now they're washing. Oh, I know that cat. Yeah, they're just talking to it. I know that cat. It just looks different from here. It looks really big. Looks great, actually. Sort of light brown and black with white paws, and it's very. But I think maybe it's seen something because it's gone bigger. But it's just sort of. Looks very confident. Yeah. No, I think it's okay. Richard Parker, I've noticed, he's realised now when I'm setting up the podcast, he comes in to get fed. Because I think he knows the camera and everything means if I make a fuss, I get fed, so I'll go out the way. I've noticed that. Very clever. Let's go and have a sip of this. So that gig was weird. The second gig, they said, keep it clean because it's in a church. Even though they said it's in a church, I did not expect it to be in a church. It was a grand, big, big church. Full as well. I thought maybe there was over 200 people in there. And I went over there, just in the back bit, I guess, was the green room, was probably just where the priest or the vicar knocks about. And it was a lovely gig. I only did 25 minutes, but lovely. Yeah, and there was one lady who was the guy running it said, we'll bring on Jake Lambert. And then one lady made a lot of noise. It was sort of funny that it was a lot. I feel bad, actually, because I did make a reference to it when I was up there, but I didn't get to meet her afterwards to say that was just a joke. But she was very nice. Yeah, she was really nice, actually. Just very excited to see me. And they all were. They were so nice. So that was a lovely gig. And then I got back. When did I get back? In fact, no, what happened was during that show, I told a story about breaking a vase and something smashed at the back as I was saying it. Then as I was talking about a ghost bit, some of the guys on the lighting let out smoke to come out from behind. It was like a atmospheric gig. And then on the way home, nothing to stop for food. So I got back here about midnight. I had some gluten-free pita bread, cheese, cucumber. Just sat and watched Malcolm in the Middle. Just to unwind. And I thought, yeah, good to take some time off gigging, I think. The gigs themselves are fine. It's everything around it. It's the Friday night, getting in the car, selecting the podcast, going off and just going, I've done this solidly now. I was supporting Michael McIntyre before. Then I was on my tour. Then I've been on my tour for over 2 years. And obviously New Zealand is something different. Getting to travel, it's lovely. And getting to do your own tours and people come to see you. That's all very nice. But when you're doing that and you're just doing the club gigs and you're getting back late and you go, I've sort of got other stuff going on. It was a good reminder that when someone offers you a gig, it's very easy. You can take this with anything in life. When someone offers you something, do you want to do something, for example? Always ask yourself, would I say yes if that was tonight? Because they asked me in January, and April back then seemed so far away. But suddenly, it's Friday afternoon, and that's not very far away. And to Paddy, lovely gigs. Lovely to see him. He's got a lovely family, and they're always at the gigs. Everyone's very nice. It's everything around it. It's the travel. It's the food. It's the rubbish cup of tea. It's just stuff where you go, maybe I should just be at home. I'm doing the same thing tonight. I'm down in Bournemouth tonight. Just closing a show that, it's a venue that I did my tour show at twice, I think. So no particular reason for me to be down there, but someone asks, and what happens is when you start out in comedy and you start doing open mic nights, then when people start to pay you, you say yes to everything, and it's very hard to lose that. Saying yes to everything is so easy to do when you just go, of course, and you don't want to let people down. So then when people email you and it is a gig months away, can you do this? You look at the diary and the whole diary is maybe empty that month. And you go, well, that's something. I guess I'll do that. But then other things come in, and then other things, and suddenly that month is full. And spending my Saturday night driving down to Bournemouth and back. And I'm grateful, it's lovely, and I'm in a very lucky and lovely position. But God, it'd be nice to have a night off. That's all I mean. But I would make the same mistake. If someone emailed me on Tuesday for a gig, and the gig was in September, I'd make the same mistake. Not a mistake, but sort of a mistake. Just because I had some very lovely news this week from America, so stuff I've got to do there, and that's happening, and that's super exciting. It just means I wouldn't have guessed, I wouldn't have known that was coming in though. So because that comes in, it changes your perspective, and otherwise maybe I wouldn't have minded so much. But I just realised as I was there, I was like, let me be a bit pickier now about the gigs I'm going to do over the next year until I'm going on tour again. And when I'm going on tour again, I will I will start to do more gigs, because then you're trying stuff out. Like last night, I just tried 2 or 3 new bits, and then that's fun and it works. You go, great, okay, something, park that. And you want to build up a whole new set, and so you can start going back on tour again. But when you're not building up towards that, you just sort of go, what am I doing here? My Friday. Let's go over some comments, because we're getting towards the end. Let's see. Let's see some comments. Let's go to Spotify. So if you're listening and you want to comment, you can either do, the people whose garden is across from mine, they're putting up a gazebo. Maybe they're having a party tonight. Maybe it's a good thing I'm going away. Be out for the night. Let's have a look at the comments. Michelle. So if you want to comment, Spotify comments or YouTube comments. That's the two. If you don't happen to have a Spotify or YouTube account and you listen, you can message me on Instagram. But it's better if they're here, because these are the two I tend to check. And I do check every episode. Michelle's put, love that you make cards. It's more special. Yes. In fact, I've got to make one for my mum. My mum and dad are coming over tomorrow. And my mum has just retired. So I'm making her a card, which is, in The Apprentice, when they go, you're fired. I'm just going to do the hand pointing and say, Mum, you're retired. Bit of fun. And then there's some Kate Somerville stuff she likes that you get from a shop called Space NK. My friend Beth used to work there, so I used to get it for free. And I love the Kate Somerville stuff. It's really good for your face. Very expensive. But I bought my mum some. And she liked it. She didn't quite realise how expensive one particular bit was, and she was using it every day. And I sort of said, just so you know, it's that. And then I thought I'd get her that again. But I had a voucher, because I bought something in there for myself the other day. And then they gave me a voucher, and at the bottom of my tote bag, I kept the voucher in there because I thought, I know I'll have this next time I come here. So I had this tote bag with and I paid for it, and I got her a few bits, so it's an amount of money. And then as I was leaving, I thought, let me just check. And I checked the voucher, checked the bag, bottom of the bag. It was a voucher, and it was like money off and a percentage off. It was a voucher for £20 off or something, and then a percentage off. And the lady looked at me and she went, this was a different lady, the one that hadn't served me. I was on the way out. She went, are you okay? I went, just seen I had a voucher. I've just paid for this and realised I had the voucher here. And I knew it was in my bag. Now, I wasn't saying I'm going to go back and use the voucher. But she sort of was saying that. So she said, guess you have to come back. And I went, yeah. So annoying. I knew it was in there. I just didn't. And I was just casually thinking, she was the one that came to speak to me. I didn't go, excuse me, I've paid for this and I've got this voucher. Can I get a refund and can I pay again and get all the money off? I didn't say that. I never said that. I just said, it's annoying it was in there. She went, what did you get? And I went, it was just some of stuff. She went, oh, right. She goes, you have to get some more, I guess. And I went, yeah, I'll come back. And then she went, is it for you? And I went, no, it's a gift for my mum. And she went, you can't use a discount on stuff that's for your mum. And I was looked at her and went, you really don't want me to use this discount, do you? But I smiled. And she did not know what to do with that information because that was exactly what was happening. Anyway, regarding the Mondeas, Harvey said, it does give off Ford Mondeo energy. That's what it is, yeah, a Mondeo, a Ford Mondeo. It's the best of the lot. Thank you, Harvey. I agree. Laura, you should check out Talking Rubbish podcast. It will answer all your recycling questions, and it's funny too. Oh, thanks, Laura. I would remember listening to that on the way to Bournemouth. I've been listening to Bryan Cranston's autobiography. God, it's good. Yeah. Lost his virginity to a lady of the night, though. Australia, we have Easter Monday off. It's Tuesday here already, though. Thanks, Karen. Yeah, so Easter Monday you have off. But the Easter eggs, are they the type of eggs we have that are like... Let me grab one and hold it up to the camera in case you're watching. So this is the type of egg I actually bought myself this one because nobody had got me a Cadbury's one and they were the best. The eggs were also not very good shape this year and I think people are going to kick off and I hope they do. So do you have eggs like that? So you can see a bit of what the egg will be like there. And then it's... I can open this one and show you actually. Oh, a bit of what's it called? ASCPR. ASCPR? What's it called when you do? I haven't googled anything this episode. What's it called when people like the sound of stuff? What's it called when people like the sound of stuff? I don't even know what I'm asking here. ASMR. I knew what I meant. Anyway. Does it look like that, the eggs? So this is in foil. A big Cadbury's golden egg there. And then and in that, built within the very egg itself, it's got bits of mini egg in. Saving that till last. Put that down there. I'll have that when I'm feeling a bit better. That'd be nice with a cup of tea. And then I have lived in Tampa for 7 years, but still take Easter Monday and Boxing Day off work. Sarah, right? Wow, lovely. Tampa, Buccaneers. You are a Bucks fan? Oh God, what's the quarterback? I can't believe I blanked on the quarterback's name. Keep on rolling, baby. What is his name? Oh my God, it's the off season and my brain's not working quite as well as it should. God, that's annoying. I'm going to keep thinking of it towards the end of the episode. I'm not going to Google it. Oh my God, that's so annoying. Mike Evans is the wide receiver. Although, has he just left? And you've got a good young running back. God, I'm off it. I'm off it because it's not the... What is the name? He's got a cool name. I like him. Your quarterback. If you're a fan. Anyway, Tampa, that's right. So, So they don't take Easter and Boxing Day off, but you take it off. So that's not a thing in America. Always learning. Tea and an Easter egg is excellent. I did think you were going to say cry though, but congratulations on burping. Oh yeah, it was Easter 12th of April 2020. I burped. If you drive while podcasting, you can't Google when you want to. Good point. I was a bit busy last week, and I thought I was going to have to do the episode from the car, which I will try one time. But yeah, I won't be able to Google. I have to keep pulling over. The story about the Comedy Store gigs made my pulse race while listening. Glad you had a good time anyway. People who were talking about doing things and then never doing it are driving me crazy too. I take things very literally, I think. Would love to have a Mondayer community somewhere too. A group of very nice people is always nice to have. In Germany, we have off on Fridays and Mondays, on Easter too. But Mother's Day happens on a different day. What day does Mother's Day happen? I'm very sorry, but I don't understand what Mother's Day sort of did then. That was confusing. We have Fridays and Mondays on Easter too, but Mother's Day happens on a different day. A different day to us? Maybe. Is that what you mean? A different day to the UK? Please start a fox feeding routine. I've been asked to write an article for a newspaper about how Britain needs to embrace foxes. So watch this space. So I know it doesn't really help you in Germany, but that was for everyone listening. But yeah, my big campaign starts here. I am an accountant, so your traditional office worker, although I predominantly work from home. And wherever I have work, people usually like to complete work and email it just before they log off on a Friday. So the emails on a Monday morning will be the plethora sent last thing on Friday. Plethora. That's a good word. Plethora, remember, it means an abundance of gorgeousness and diversity. It was a lovely way to describe an email. Happy to be a Mondayer, although it reminds me of the Ford Mondayer. Yes, Lisa. Yeah, and then, someone's replied to that. I wonder if that's Harvey. Oh, no, Silk has put, yes, exactly, the Mondayer. I was thinking of it too. Yeah, I can't believe I missed that one. Yeah, the Ford Mondayer. I saw a Mondayer in the wild as well. There was a video I did. I think it was a reel? And someone commented, I'm a Mondayer. And it was great to see it in the wild. Ooh, now I've never thought about the details of recycling before. You might be onto something. Thanks, Vic. Yeah, well, let's listen to the podcast together. Working today, brackets, bank, holiday Monday, Waitrose in Cambridge. See you at the Comedy Garden in July, by the way. Oh, yeah, I'm doing that. See, that's a nice one to do. Comedy Garden, big acts, it's summer, making sure I'm not doing it during World Cup games. That'll be lovely. In fact, I think that's on the 25th, and I've got to get back for a gig at the Chapel in London on the 25th. I've got 2 gigs that night. Then the 26th, my family are going on holiday to Orlando, and I might join them. I might fly out the next day and come for a week. It will be busy in the shop today because it's been closed for a whole day. Comedy Store Thursday was hilarious. You were there, Julie? Yes. Right. Okay, this was the one I was worried about. Comedy Store Thursday. So if you don't remember last week, I went on stage and I hadn't gigged for a while, and then I'm doing these gigs now, as I said, because I've got New Zealand coming up. And I went up there and I hadn't really thought about it enough, and I suddenly just completely forgot what my opening joke was, and I was piecing it together as I was up there. But that's lovely to hear. Comedy Store Thursday was hilarious. I was sat next to the YouTubers. Yeah, there were some big YouTubers in. Had to ask my daughter who they were. Don't worry, Julie, I didn't know either. 2 Australia/South Africa tourists next to me thought you were brilliant, so I told them about the podcast. I wonder if they're listening. And that's a lovely thing for you to do, Julie. Thank you. Your cards are great. Perhaps you should take orders on Cameo. Is that an option you can do? I'd love to make those cards for a living. And then Julie and Lisa are commenting because someone called Lisa used to work in Asda in my early 20s, and you would genuinely think we'd been shut for a year. There'd be queues. Thoughts and prayers, Julie. I thought the same regarding the cards, My friends and I always try and find each other the most brutal cards for each other, but they could have a Jake Lambert special. That's lovely. Oh, and then Julie's commented on recycling. On recycling, I used to work in chemicals and have seen the process for plastic, PET bottles, getting turned ultimately into polyester filling for quilts. Wow. Huh. Thanks, Julie. Wow. Imagine that. Get into bed. And that used to be a Fanta bottle. Thanks, Lisa. I'm one of the managers to get involved in all sorts of interesting discussions. P.S. Jake, waiting for your sketch on Melania's speech. I've seen others, but no, yours would be funnier. I didn't see this. I'm not a political person. I steer clear, really, of it, so that doesn't come up on my algorithm, but I will check that out. Father Time, that's what I was thinking of. Thanks, Harvey. Chris, thank you for the Peter Santanello suggestion. Did I do that one before? I think I did. Yeah, that was about Peter Santanello. Lovely. That's a few comments. We reached an hour. Don't know how that happened. So if you can hear my washing machine going off in the background as well. Hopefully you can't hear that. Blimey, I don't know how we did that. Right, what is the Baker Mayfield? Whew. It's the name of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback. I knew it was in there. It's the off season, and I'm not as on top of it as I usually would be. There's someone who listens to this who, when I asked about people's hobbies and interests, they said NFL Fantasy Dynasty. I never know how to say it. Are we in a league together? This is just for one person. I'm asking this question. Sorry. Are we in a league together? I'm in 3 leagues, and I didn't know, and I felt too awkward to ask back then. Right, that was lovely. I feel better. Do you know that? I know I sounded ill at the start. I feel better now for talking to you, so thanks for that. I hope you had a lovely week. Yeah, my mum and dad are coming over tomorrow. So I've got stuff in for brunch. And then, yeah, what else have I got this week? I'm going to play badminton on Monday. Got a meeting with people in America on Tuesday. I think that's it. It's quite a quiet week, I think. Seeing some friends for dinner on Thursday, but that's fine because it means I can still have my porridge. Almost said oatmeal. Never know what to say. I'll have my porridge and my omelette and then go and have dinner. Lovely. Right. Have a great week. And let me know if there's any routine you have, actually. I'm interested in routines. Let's do a routine week because I went into quite a bit of detail about mine. I'd love to know if there's something you have to have. You know, like some people say, don't talk to me until I've had my coffee. And I go, if you say that, I'm probably not going to talk to you even after you have had it. But yeah, let me know what your routine, something you need is. I'd love to know that. Right, I'm going to go and have some lunch on an omelette and then drive down to Bournemouth and listen to a podcast about recycling. What a life. Right, thanks for listening. And as always, I'll see you next Monday. Bye.